And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe on the way, in the door, my people. I hope you all are having a truly fantastic day today. Welcome back to Fanboy Fridays. Fanboys.
If I'm not mistaken, it was
Now you see something. Now you see now. You done fucked up, you know that, don't you?
I
See what I'm saying?
I thought.
No, so, you know what I'm saying? That you done fucked up now, you know that, don't you?
Yeah,
You know you done fucked up, don't you?
Yeah, and we hope your day is going terrible. So let's talk about it, people. Let's talk about the USA versus Serbia. LeBron James, no doubt, is playing with his dream team. LeBron James is playing with his dream team. What I mean by that is this team is the team LeBron wishes he had in the NBA. This is the team he would like to chase championships with. This is the team who he feels could best support his legacy. And no doubt, yesterday versus Serbia, Steph Curry not only saved Team USA, but he also saved LeBron James' legacy. And we're going to try to keep this video relatively short, but you know, some things I want to talk about that we mentioned over and over again on this channel. I didn't watch the whole game yesterday. I was kind of clicking on and off as I was doing other things, and went back and watched the highlights of the game. And you know, first of all, let me start by saying this. For those of you who saw the post I made yesterday with the current team and the dream team of 92 on it, and the top team, the team above was the current team, you know, show LeBron and Steph and Durant, and they are all making these faces as if they are tough, these faces as if they are just, you know, hardcore competitors, just the toughest of the tough. This is the faces they're making. LeBron, Curry, Durant, Booker, and Anthony Davis, right? And then, of course, on the bottom half of the picture, we have the dream team of 92, and you got Barkley and Magic and Ewing and Karl Malone and Michael Jordan, and they all are smiling, you know. But if you look deep in their eyes, especially with Michael Jordan, you will see some psychopaths. And I think I captioned the picture something like, the ones smiling are the real killers, and the ones trying to look like killers are pretenders. And this is important because, number one, this is usually what is happening in real life. The person who's trying to project toughness, who's trying to show how tough and hard they are, these are usually the people who are not as tough as they say they are. You know, I'm not saying they're not tough at all, but they are trying to project more toughness than they actually are. And again, like I said, if you grew up in the hood, if you grew up living the street life, we all know that the toughest guys, a lot of times, you wouldn't even know that they were that type unless you happened to get on their bad side and had to find out the hard way. You know, like I said, there was one time, a time period in my life where I was participating in that sort of lifestyle, and I had a friend of mine who was, you know, he was the real deal, but you would never ever know it. He a pretty respectful guy, you know, this guy he would say yes sir and no ma'am to older people, you know, very respectful to older people, but everybody in the streets knew that this was not the dude to cross at all. Not even for 2 seconds. Like he had no fear of danger, and he wasn't the kind of person who was gonna be barking, talking about how tough he is. So he didn't have to do that. Everyone knew it. And to me, this is what the post that I made represents. If you look at that picture with Magic and Jordan and Ewing and Malone and Barkley, what you are seeing is psychopaths smiling. You are seeing ultra competitors who don't need to show that they're ultra competitors. They don't have to make a face trying to show how tough they are, how dominant they are. They don't have to make this face because it happens on the court. And why am I bringing this up? Because USA versus Serbia. Serbia was pretty much dominating USA, I would say, especially when you're talking about what USA should have been doing. And what this all comes back to is the thing that we talk about on this channel over and over again. The thing that separates okay from good and good from great and great from being a superstar. Normally, yes, skill separates that, but once you get the skills, what separates you? That is the consistency. Like I said, when you're talking about the greatest basketball players in the world, pretty much anybody is capable of dropping 40, but that doesn't make you Michael Jordan. That doesn't make you Larry Bird or Magic. That doesn't make you Kobe Bryant or Grant Hill or Tracy McGrady. That doesn't make you the upper level. But even when you're talking about Tracy McGrady, what separates Tracy McGrady from Kobe Bryant? Well, it's the consistency. It's how consistent can you show that greatness? It's how consistent can you show the effort? And so one of the things that I've said over and over again with this modern generation of players, this current generation, is that lack of consistency. And part of that lack of consistency is the lack of taking the game serious at all times. Again, when we're talking about Michael Jordan, the reason he was the greatest, obviously it starts with the mindset. But Michael Jordan understood that, hey, if I practice like it's game 7 all the time, then I don't have to try to, find the extra energy when it's needed. I don't have to try to motivate myself to do that in the playoffs or in the finals, or in the Olympics, because I'm just that way all the time. I remember seeing a story of one of Kobe's ex-teammates. I can't even remember who it was who was telling this story. It might have been on Gil's Arena, but I can't remember who it was telling the story. But basically, they were telling the story of Kobe practicing. They were like, man, Kobe was in the gym and he's doing his moves full throttle, like full speed, as if there's a defender in front of him. But there's nobody in front of him. But he practices these moves full throttle, like he's actually trying to shake somebody, like he's actually trying to jump over someone to get the jump shot off. This is how he practices. And again, when you practice like that, you develop that consistency that you don't have to activate playoff mode LeBron James. And to me, this is what's really getting exposed in these Olympics. Again, to me, fanboys, had USA lost yesterday, my goodness, you really wouldn't have wanted to be here today. you wouldn't have wanted to be here today. But they'll be playing against France next, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, to me, this is the whole thing. It's that lack of consistency everywhere across the board. It's the lack of consistency in playing good defense. It's the lack of consistency in playing with intensity. And let me tell you right now, this team 2024, they would have got annihilated by the Dream Team last night. they would have got annihilated. Because let me tell you something right now, fanboys, there is nobody on that Serbia team who could play defense like the 92 Dream Team. We're talking about a whole different level of fanboys. See, this is what I know. I know there's a severe disconnect when you're talking about the older generation versus the newer generation. Like, I've said this on videos before. Like, to me, it is natural to be some sort of disconnect between the older generation and the younger generation. Again, I've said it, and I believe both generations have a job. It is the job of the older generation to hold the younger generation to a standard. And it is the job of the younger generation to try to push the boundaries of what was previously done. Normally that is the case. But however, what we have gotten to in the modern day is the younger generation just completely disrespecting the older generation, completely disrespecting the generation that set the foundation for where they are. But more importantly, we've gotten to this delusional place, again, where they're trying to say these players are so much more skilled when they lack the fundamentals, and those kind of things, and where the current generation is just trying to throw out all the previous standards for their own benefit, so they can say, hey, we're great, even though we don't have the same difficulty level that the older generation played at, we're even better. But again, you can't say that because you don't have the same difficulty level. But this is the thing, when trying to explain to the younger generation why the 90s, the 80s, the early 2000s would destroy most of these modern players. It is the consistency. It is the consistency and effort. It is the mentality. And like I said, last night, the 92 Dream Team against Team 2024, Team 2024 would have got destroyed because there's nobody on Serbia playing defense like Jordan and Pippen and Ewing and Barkley and those guys. Like, we're talking about a whole different level of intensity of defense. We're just talking about defense alone. And yeah, Steph Curry got hot last night, but I guarantee you he couldn't have done that against Michael Jordan. He couldn't have done that against Scottie Pippen. He couldn't have done that against the greatest defenders on the 92 Dream Team. And let alone, to me, Steph and Durant is the best offensive weapons on this team. And, everybody else is kind of, everybody else is kind of, and I'm not saying they're not great, but I'm just saying, again, when you're talking about consistency and comparing them to the 92 Dream Team. So they're getting destroyed on defense. They're going to get destroyed on defense. They were down by, what was it, 17 to Serbia? And again, defense from Serbia is nowhere near what the 92 Dream Team defense would be. It is nowhere near. And then you got to talk about, again, when we're talking about consistency of effort, it's like by the time Team USA got going offensively, it would have been too late. Like, Team USA would have literally ran them out of the building at that point. Because the 92 Dream Team, the offensive weapons on there, not just the offensive weapons, but the team chemistry, the fact that they have players who play roles, I heard I can't remember what media show it was, but they were talking about Joel Embiid against Patrick Ewing, I think. And I'm thinking, like, are you serious? Joel Embiid is a big baby. I watched him do a dunk last night, and when they replayed it, I'm thinking, like, why did you fall down? He fell down after a dunk, and what it really looked like is he dunked, and he had on his mind that he was gonna flop. Like, he already had made up in his mind that he was gonna flop, but then when he dunked, he realized he was wide open, but he was already in the middle of the flop or something. I can't figure it out. I can't figure out why he fell after this dunk, because he was wide open, but he dunked and just like tumbled on the floor. And I'm thinking, like, you think Joel Embiid can compete against somebody like Patrick Ewing? Even yes, Patrick Ewing had a great mid-range game, and he had a good post-up game. But just because Joel Embiid can shoot some threes, I mean, yeah, just the team chemistry and the way that they helped each other out on defense is like, no, the defensive pressure would have been way too much for Team 2024 if they were playing against the Dream Team last night. Oh, man. But yeah, Team USA survived. Steph Curry saved the legacy, saved Team USA, saved LeBron James' legacy for the moment. And so we'll see what happens against France. But, you know, to me, again, I really wish, you know, unfortunately, it's really one of those kind of things that if you didn't live through the time period, you really just don't understand. And that's why, again, I've always said on this channel, you know, for people who grew up in the Bill Russell days, you know, who grew up watching Dr. J, who got to grow up watching Kareem. I got to see some of Kareem, but it was later Kareem, and I was very young during that time. But for people who grew up watching that, and some of these guys are their GOATs, I have no problem with that, because like I understand that unless you were there, it is very hard to make someone else understand. So it's hard to make these young kids, these younger generations, again, even though there's a lot of them who watch the highlight videos from Michael Jordan, and that alone is enough. I mean, I can't think of anybody with a greater highlight reel out there, and Michael Jordan has a few of them. But you know, for a lot of these young kids, watching the highlights is enough, and it's enough for them to change their mind and be like, wow, this Michael Jordan guy was just different. Like I've never seen anything like that before. But you know, for some other ones, when we're just talking about the modern NBA as a whole, these modern players as a whole, it's really hard to get them to understand what we're talking about. Like when we talk about that these players just don't have the same passion for the game, and not only not have the same passion for the game, but it's also hard to understand. For if you grew up in this generation, you know, and you think you're tough, you know, you think you're watching toughness, it's hard for them to understand that no, these players back then, they were on a whole nother level of toughness. Matter of fact, shout out to Angry Old Hoops. I've been watching a whole lot of Angry Old Hoops lately. I've been enjoying his coverage of these Olympics, and but he was talking about some of the toughness of the players. Like, it's just not comparable. When you're talking about guys like Rick Mahorn and Anthony Mason and Xavier McDaniels and Oakley and, you know, Charles Barkley and some of these guys like this, Karl Malone, you really think these soft players could go back and compete with that? I mean, because, again, like I said, to me, we're not talking about, you know, they try to overblow this whole skill thing as if, number one, as if that's the end all be all. But again, you know, most of these players, they're getting called for several travels and double dribbles and carries a game back then. It's like the fundamentals have been completely overlooked. And some of the times I'm actually wondering, I'm sorry everybody, this is kind of going into a rant, but some of the times I'm actually wondering, what is the ref's function on the court? I mean, have they been deliberately told to, hey, well, you know, just ignore some of this carrying stuff. You know, this is just the modern game. They haven't practiced fundamentals. They really don't know. So just let them get away with it. Or are they just such poor refs that they don't see it? Like, I'm really confused. Angry Old Hoops showed Joel Embiid double dribble, you know, in the USA game. And I'm just confused at why this takes place so regularly. But Yeah. Anyway, to think that these players who are so soft, who are flopping everywhere, and again, we're talking about a different attitude, because like Angry Old Hoops was saying, and this is a fact. You know, you want to go and pull some of that soft stuff in it, that they gonna make you pay. It's like, oh, you want to flop, you want to flop and get me an unnecessary foul. I'm gonna make sure that this next foul they call is very necessary. I'm gonna make sure I get my money's worth out of this next foul. If you're gonna flop on the floor, like, I'm gonna throw my elbow into your chest so hard. And again, you know, the whole bigger, stronger, faster, you know, just because someone has a more cut up physique actually doesn't even mean that they're stronger. It means that you work out. But you're talking about just grown man strength. You know, I remember when I was younger in high school, and you know, there were certain football players or whatnot who you know, they were strong. They were strong for young guys. I've always been strong just for considering that I never consistently worked out. You know, I remember the coaches begged me every single year I was in high school. They begged me to play football, but I was just more interested in basketball and less interested in football. But they begged me to play. But one thing that we all knew back in high school, we used to talk about it, is like, as strong as we were, like, there's a such thing just called grown man strength, where you know, they might not look like they ripped and cut up like you, but you know, they'll slam you to the ground without any trouble. And this is what I feel like the players back in the day had. It was just like that toughness. It was like that toughness in life that translated to actually being tough on the court. Not this fake screaming and, you know, like LeBron James having to scream after every play and Steph Curry's thing. Miss me with that. But anyway, yeah, we gonna hold up here. But like I said, to me, it's just last night just exposes that inconsistency of Team USA, not just Team USA, but of today's modern players. It's that inconsistency of being able to lock in for a full 48 minutes, full 48 minutes a game. You know, or however long you're on the court. I don't care if you're on the court for 20 minutes. It's being able to lock in each and every second. It's being able to lock in on defense and play with intensity each and every second. Not, you know, turn it on when you get desperate. Or a lot of times turn it on when you're front running, you know. And so, yeah. But anyway, we gonna hold up here. Fanboys, your king is ridiculous, and so are you. You are ridiculous, and so is your king. I might have to put that on a t-shirt. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. What did you think about the Serbia game? You know, do you think USA is definitely going to win the gold, or do you think there's a good chance that they may not come away with the gold? What do you think about the picture that I posted yesterday? Do you believe that the real killers are the ones smiling in the picture, and that the ones trying to look tough are actually pretenders? But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. You all have a truly, truly fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. All right.